Hello, namaste, and welcome to Agile Exploration Hub. I am your host Nagesh Deshpande, and in today's episode, we are going to discuss about agile transformation challenges and success stories. So, to talk on this episode, we have a very special guest, Ramanathan from Chennai, and he is a senior agile coach and well-known agile professional in the community. So, I met Ramanathan many times during the conferences, and his experience really going to help us. So, watch this episode till the end. I will welcome Ramanathan. Hi, Ramanathan.
Hey Nagesh, I've been like feeling very warm welcome here, like, and it's more of like always happy to learn mutually from Agile Exploration Hub. Very insightful thoughts from a lot of thought leaders in the industry. I'm happy to be a part of it here. Yeah,
Great. So, most welcome once again. How was your day?
so good so far. Yeah,
Great. Okay, so to my audience, as you know, we record the episodes on weekends. We release every Monday. So keep watching. Subscribe to my channel. Every Monday episode will be new. Episode will be live, and use the experience, leverage the knowledge that all these speakers are bringing to to this forum. So without wasting much time, uh, I know Ramanathan has done like tons of plenty agile transformation is throughout his careers. We are going to provide his contact details, LinkedIn profile into description box. So I will make sure that you get most of this out of this episode. So we are going to discuss about the success stories, and let's start with the very first question that so how did your agile transformation journey started? So I've gone through your profile. I know you worked in a different domain earlier, different technology earlier, and then you moved into agile. So how this transformation happened?
yeah. To keep it in very short and then like crisp, right? My first Agile transformation journey began during my tenure at Infosys and TVS, the manufacturing giant, where I served them as a Scrum team member first. And at the time, like the organization was more of like having challenges such as delayed product deliveries, misaligned team objectives. So far, like lack of adaptability to changing market demands, right? When we feel that like recognizing that paradigm shift is like very essential, and I champion that adoption of agile methodologies to start with and foster more collaborative and responsive work environment across. And that initiated the transformation by conducting comprehensive workshops, training sessions, introducing the core principles of agile to both leadership and cross-functional teams. And predominantly I started my Scrum framework with piloting teams and like focusing on iterative development, all about rules, artifacts and all. And the initial results were promising, where I've been more engaged, and then like communication improved a lot, and where we are delivering value to customers more consistently. The significant challenge I faced was like resistance to change,
Yes.
particularly from stakeholders who are accustomed to traditional project management approaches what they had.
Mm,
And to address this, like I facilitated open forums and feedback sessions,
mm,
ensuring that every team member had a voice in their transformation process. And this inclusive approach has helped me building trust in longer run, securing buy-in across the organization and from its stakeholders. We as well like scale practices across departments, right? Like we observe a
mm.
cultural shift towards greater accountability. That success of the transformation is not only about improving our project outcomes, but also positioning the organization as a leader in agile adoption within our industry. That's something which I picked as in like an objective.
Perfect. Great. So to summarize, grabbing the opportunity,
Mm.
keep learning, exploring, exploration, that what Ramanathan tried, communication, stakeholder management, all these things he keep trying at his early stage of his career. Then he becomes a transformation has moved from one in specific area as a scrum team member to a agile professional. Great journey, amazing story. We would like to hear more stories. So let's get on to the next thing. Then no, what was the biggest challenge? You already mentioned one challenge about resistance, but other major challenges that you faced during this journey?
Okay. I would say like the biggest challenge, right? Like where everyone would resonate with me on this was shifting mindsets, particularly at the
Mm,
leadership level.
right.
Right. Well, you tend to work with teams, right, where they
Mm,
are open to new ways of working. Many leaders initially saw almost like agile as a just a process tweak rather than a cultural shift.
right.
Convincing them at in like saying agile wasn't about faster delivery alone, but also about like getting better delivery through your empowerment, your transparency and collaboration, which required some patience, education, and relentless communication, which is like a toughest ball game to play.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's pretty challenging. You know, we so to my audience, me and Ramanathan made plenty of time in the conferences, and normally these things being discussed at length in the conferences. You know, mindset shift and how to handle leadership where they have don't have mindset towards agility. They looked at a different way. So it's pretty challenging to shift the mindset. They have to go through rigorous, discussions, I will say, than the constant hand holding and taking overs to change this mindset. You know, and these mindset shift will not happen by any certifications or something like that. It has to, it has to go through a very um, I will say deep understanding or self study or practicing more, empathy. It will go through. So great discussion again, and then so now let's say you are changing something. You are trying to do some change, and how does this team reacts to it, or maybe set of people around you? How do they react?
Okay. You'll always see that like the
Yes.
initial reaction was more of mixed reaction that you feel,
Mm,
right? Some
mm,
team members would be very excited to work
right.
with you because you're bringing something interesting for them to be a part of. And so there are some where you might be intrigued somewhere by the promise of autonomy, and some reduced bureaucracy, right? Like in more of the organizations, like you might see someone who would be traditionally micromanaging and then like not giving you autonomy. It often happens even in the organization, but others were skeptical, like about like worried what agile might just like another management fad. It's more of like their roles might become obsolete at one point in time where they are very scared of like where they might be like thinking of whether they might lose their job role or whatever that they have it. And I spend more of like my time in coaching individuals and clarifying misconceptions, highlighting how agile would make their work very meaningful and not more stressful in their journey. And that's something which have been me like a lot of hearts today, which I've been still getting them. Like it's not about like we go in some good training or whatever. It's all word of mouth, and I don't have some marketing team or whatever. Like it's all about word of mouth where people come in and then like say, "Ram, would you be my mentor?" So that is something
Mm,
which is like you gain it, like and people believe you and trust you and taking you as a mentor, right? Like that's a feeling that
right.
comes in as a journey, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's a kind of a badge that you wear. Someone
Yeah.
came you and asked you that will you mentor me. So it's a kind of honor, badge of honor for yourself. So people
Of
coming to
course.
you asking, will you mentor me, or they see the changes has been happening. So I'll share one of my stories. So I was
Please, yeah.
working with one of the organization where we used to do retrospective. So pretty standard. Any Scrum Master, what we do is pretty standard retrospective, that you know what went well, what should we have done better, and if there are any improvement. Pretty standard. So it was it eventually to become mechanical,
Mm,
people, and then we saw there was no communication and all that. And like you said, when we brought a new ways of doing this retro, and believe me, that at that time it was it was a COVID environment, so it was
mm,
all online. So
yeah.
first of all, bringing all the people on the camera. Second biggest challenges was to make them talk. So we
Yeah.
brought some techniques, and then people were, you know like you said, some of them were very excited.
Mm,
Oh, what is this new thing Nagesh is bringing, all that, it will be fun and all that. But some people are like, this must be a routine. But the point is, like you said, those people who really show the confidence in me, saying that yes, Nagesh is bringing something different, let's do it, and they participated and make other team members to participate, that gives us a confidence. And that, like I said, those few of them will come to me and say, Nagesh, where did you learn all these things? Can we also learn it? All these kind of like a badge for me, is a badge of honor, saying that this person. So keep exploring, keep learning, and try to experiment, guys. So keep experimenting, like you said. Okay. Now, uh, like we see that, like this is the reaction of our team, that someone really excited, someone really praises you. But then, like I said, sometimes people uh, say that, okay, now this is looks better, or what are the some of the turning point when things start to work better, few
Okay.
signs or few indicators that I can
Hmm.
pick up. Yeah.
Sure. So, absolutely right. Like when
Mm.
you say, like, there should be some turning point or like a moment where it's a trigger, where we
Trigger,
call them, right? Like,
yes,
say,
yes.
it came in when we just had a small team, which we call it as pilot team to experiment, right? Like you said, let's experiment with someone, and then like that's the team which we successfully delivered a product increment with just 2 sprints.
Mm.
And we see that like there is something which they just like can see, visualize that, and then which has taken months earlier, but then now the customer was delighted when when they see something then like a week, and then like they can just share the feedback. More importantly, the team felt that there is a surge of confidence and ownership on their way, right? That visible success became the proof point for us, which inspires others to at least get on board and work along. And that's something which has been like an influence, or like I would say the sparkling influence that has just caught hold. It is more of contagious in nature, right?
Great, great, great. And then, the the topic itself, our today's discussion is about success stories.
Mhm.
So is there any success story which you want to share, which
Uh-huh.
gives you joy even today, or bring that smile even back today, that yes, we did it,
Okay.
and even now I'm proud of what the achievement that I have.
Okay. Okay. Without naming up the company, right? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in terms of data,
Yes.
whatever that have right agreement
Perfect.
with I've signed.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would say one of my favorite memories is from a team which has struggled almost for years with delivery delays, more of like interpersonal silos that they have, right? Which they will not almost share anything with others. No one knows what do they do and whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
after 6 months of working with them, right, like it's introducing about Scrum or like visualizing with Kanban and fostering a psychological safety within the team. We just encouraged honest retrospective, saying like, okay, let's keep that aside, and then like let's not take it personal. It's about management objective. Let's work on that, and then like keep that comments onto the process, not to the people. So we then like hit their releases, which is like more of having their release goals early, and then like hitting that on time. And that's something which has almost mentioned, but also like they nominated each other for internal cultural champions award, saying, hey, the team's transformation was both in delivery and in sprint, which still makes me smile when I think that, right? Because it's about like having the recognition within the team and also sharing the accomplishments for what they've done. And they were till date known for this initiative called Culture Champions Award, because they've got a big cultural shift by in the ways where we can see them. They are not silos anymore, and they are like the team which is known for the organization for the CSAT score that they have.
No, awesome story. Awesome. See, the success of a Scrum Master, is team success. Successful team will raise a successful Scrum Master. Just you become a Scrum Master, you try to implement, you won't be able to successful gain the success. So when a team becomes successful, a Scrum Master will become a successful. So this is a great story. So another point that I liked in this story is something which is each team member recognizing someone else's work. That is very, very essential in a team. Forget about whether it's a Scrum team, Kanban team, or any framework team. No, even if it is a IPL team, if someone recognize someone else's efforts and hard work, that team will become successful. So
Yeah,
keep doing. Even you have a bunch of Scrum Masters, group of Scrum Master, acknowledge the work that other Scrum Masters are doing. So
of course.
excellent, excellent story. I really enjoyed it. Now, absolutely, this is all we are talking about, good things,
Mhm.
happy, and then all. But we do made mistakes, right? Even I
Yeah.
made mistakes, but some of the mistakes that you made, which help you to learn during this journey.
Okay. everybody makes mistakes in life,
Yes.
right? So we learn from mistakes, and only difference is like how quick you learn from that mistake and recover and don't repeat that again, which makes to be like a sin and a longer run, right? Like for the
Hmm.
team. So it's more of like the Scrum Master or the Agile Coach being an intangible entity where you make the presence felt when you're not there, where the success is reaped by the team, and then like you're making that success contagious to other teams. So one mistake I made early on was assuming everybody would understand the why behind the agile ways of working just
Hmm.
because we explained the how. But I underestimated the emotional resistance to change, and I learned that transformation isn't just about rolling out the events or tools or whatever. More of it's about narratives, it's about empathy and influence. Change happens one conversation, like one fear, one aha moment at a time, right? It's not about like everything. So it's about all experiences that you give, which would always be nostalgic in their like journey. And that's something which we want to make it, which I realized it, and it might be even felt after your like movement from that area. Like if you've moved or exited from that area and like from the organization or whatever, that would still be there as a nostalgic story, which will help there, like for their transformation journey.
Absolutely. So someone um, said something very nice thing to me, that if you are a Scrum Master, don't work in a taco factory.
Hmm.
So what is a taco factory?
Mhm.
Tools
Okay.
and
And
ceremony only.
ceremony only. Okay.
So don't work in a taco factory. So like Ramanathan said, you don't try to force the things, understand the why behind it, and not just you understand, explain it to your team as well. Okay, and learn from your mistake as much and as early as possible. Early may not happen, but try to learn and gain from that mistake. Very nice experience to share. Coming to our last question of the day. Yeah. So, what advice you will give to new Scrum Master, new Agile coaches who just starting their transformation journey?
Okay, more than an advice, like I would say it's an experience sharing, right? Like what we went through, and then like we don't want that learning from that failure.
Hmm.
Just like learn from that failure very quickly. I would say start with empathy, not a framework. Like framework, you should always be framework agnostic. Start with human connect, and that start with empathy that understands what's not working today, and you can connect to like real pain points, not just goals just from a slide deck which we have, or objectives that's been set, right? Involve your leadership early, but don't wait for a perfect buy-in, right? Starts with small baby steps, celebrate very like I would say very quick wins, and let success becomes your loudest advocate. And most importantly, listen more than what you preach, because see sometimes we say that like you will get the feedback from them, like where you will often get some easy like quick wins which you can talk and then hear from them rather what we preach. So agile is ultimately about people, not processes, and that's what is like what we as an take it as a lessons learned from our journey.
And will you recommend any books or anything that people can refer, read?
Okay, I would suggest that like there are a lot of like areas where we can go in, and then like there are a lot of books which is there, but for a good team, right? I would say the five dysfunctions of a team,
Hmm.
which is more of like help you in terms of understanding how to gain trust. And then like you once you build that, right, like all the other things happen just as a magic, because people start trusting you, and then it's easy. And there is one more book which is about numbers, and then like how you can work measure what matters, which is
Absolutely.
again a good book to look at what you want to just like measure and then see. Because when you start looking at numbers and then start measuring something, teams feel that there is a lack of trust, and then like you're running behind numbers. But this book will help you about like what you want to measure, and then measure what matters, and that makes sense for for us to measure, and then like having some numbers, because we deal with a lot of reports and then like whatever the dashboards that we build and all that, looking to monitor something and all that. But it's more about like what we tend to get from people, and that trust is something which we gain. Wonders would happen automatically.
Absolutely. Great discussion, Ramanathan. I really enjoyed it. And to my audience, if you really like this discussion, please like the video, put it in a, add your comments, share it with your friends. As I always says, Ramanathan is not going to be only time here. He will come back to Agile Exploration with some different topic. If you really enjoyed, please subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, and would like to say thank you, Ramanathan, for being such a wonderful speaker today. Thanks a lot.
Most like I would always welcome this opportunity and recommend everyone to watch, like, and subscribe, because there are a lot of insightful speakers who have been there on the list like already, and then like it's still adding on the backlog, and then like we are just getting it every week, whatever that we see, right, like in there, and that's something which we would recommend. It's always good to learn from everybody in the world, right?
Absolutely.
Like it's mutual learning. And thanks for the opportunity, Nagesh.
Pleasure is mine. Okay, sir. Thank you. Bye bye.